You might have heard of a fourth state of consciousness called Turiya. This is what this video is about today.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumet Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. I just got out of a deep meditation, and I want to speak to you guys about this fourth state of consciousness called Turiya, okay? This is kind of difficult to talk about this topic because I'm just starting to explore this myself, okay? So I'm not an expert on this topic. Just letting you guys know, this is my own reflection, and this is how I think about it, from watching videos on it, from reading about it. And I want to give you my flow state perspective as a flow state coach, because I think it's important to look at this from that reflective lens at times. If we're really trying to tap into peak states or peak states of experience, we've got to be able to really confront that scientific neuroscience experimental angle, which actually all of these rishis and sages and seers were doing. All of these mystics were almost accidental mystics, in the sense of, why wouldn't you want to explore the far reaches of your consciousness and, non-ordinary states of being? This was kind of a split from the mainstream, right? This was like something that they were exploring in the Tantra realm, away from the Brahmanic, society and all of that. You'd say it's a very non-conformist move, right, to go into this kind of research. I've understood this from my book TPM, Theatroplasticity Method, that, I'm seeing my life like a movie, like a divine play. And the way I describe Turiya for you guys through that lens is, imagine that you're watching this dance performance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. You are an audience member watching this dance take place. You being that audience member is you being in Turiya. Does that make sense? So the word Tur means city. So there's three cities: a sleep state, a wake state, and a dream state. Turiya is like you zooming out and seeing all these three cities, all these three states at once. So if you had a movie screen, the screen itself would be Turiya, and the images flickering on the screen would be these three states. And this dance between masculine and feminine, Shiva, Shakti, Yin and Yang, is this unmanifested power, or the silence, this container of masculine energy, Shiva, with the creativity, with the manifestation, the Shakti, the particles, the movement and everything, the liveliness and vitality of our human bodies. So it's the unmanifested and manifestation itself. So Turiya is almost described as a transitional state, where you don't really stay there. It's like a transit station. It's like you go there and observe all these trains going past you. And then you decide, okay, let me just take this train, and then you're sleeping, and then you take another train, and then you're awake, and you take another train, and you're in the fantasy and memory and dreamland, and this storyline in your subconscious mind and then the conscious mind, right? The subconscious and the conscious mind are playing this jazz together, and you are the consciousness that contains both of them. So why does this relate to flow state? Well, ecstatic states of mind, according to the Flow Genome Project, explains this idea of, selflessness, which is essentially egolessness, which is what we access in Turiya. Selflessness, timelessness, like you have no aspect of time when you're in that state. You would have no aspect of memory when you're in that state. It would be cool if we could wish from that state, right? This is why subconscious work is so important, because once it's in your subconscious, it's still there in the Turiya state, in the transit station. It's like it's coloring the transit station the more you work with your subconscious. What are we doing at the Flow Zone Academy? Are we hacking consciousness? You could say we are. We're looking for these tools, this breath work, these principles, this philosophy, this mindset, these actions that we take. And we're allowing ourselves to really start to explore how to be these Turiya cosmonauts and be able to look at our life like we've paused the video game so we can restart again, or we can choose the reality that we prefer instead of being a victim of reality. Sadhguru describes the state as being asleep in your wakefulness or awake in your sleep. Some sages describe this as the abode of the mother, the womb from which everything grows. This is fascinating to me as someone who looks into the flow state, because if we're really thinking, brainwave-wise, neuroelectrically, we're thinking of the alpha-theta bridge when it comes down to the flow state. Now, the theta state is that state of hypnosis where we access, right, the state of deep trance or deep meditation. So it makes sense that the flow state has this brainwave calibration, and Turiya is described as this transitional phase of, like, that feeling right after you wake up and right before you're about to go to sleep? Like, it's that liminal space, right, where you're like, oh, you don't really know, you can't really pinpoint it. It's like you don't know when you've drifted off to sleep, right? It's that bridge that is Turiya. And so this is my own understanding of it, obviously. However, give me your perspective. What do you think about this? Have you experienced this before? I want to know your guys' perspective, because I think it's important to start to explore this. Specifically in Tantra, this idea of this limited human consciousness with this vast consciousness interface. Specifically in the Rudra Yamlas, right? This is what I'm talking about. This conversation of what lies beyond. Beyond what? Beyond the mind. Okay, beyond the mind. Beyond the subconscious and the conscious. This edge of the precipice of your senses can be a terrifying thing, and that's kind of the gatekeeper. You can think of it, the gatekeeper of the subconscious mind. When you meditate, what lies beyond all states? This observer state, the zero consciousness, shunya. This dialogue happens between the yin and the yang within. I've gotten the question of, is this the same thing as astral projection? Look, I don't know the answers to these questions. All we can do is we can explore and we can start to understand. But there's clearly a sense of fear in a lot of people's subconscious minds, right? We can't access it easily if we're in fear state all the time. We can't reprogram our realities from fear, right? So it just makes sense to me that we would, explore going from fear state of mind to a flow state of mind. Like, that's always been my ability, to be this hunter of this thing blocking the subconscious and protecting it. And with Janus's help, of course, I've found a way to use the key to be this transit station point for a lot of people, and the checkpoint on their journey to flow state, where only these Zen-like questions allow you to actually look deeper within. Like Zen koans get you to access deep states of consciousness. What are questions that you can ask yourself that put you in the flow or put you into Turiya? Can you go on this philosophical rabbit hole in your own mind and become the observer? Can you do it through your own state of beingness? Can you do it through closing your eyes? I'll give you a technique, by the way. They'll give you this ability to access this. I've almost gotten this from my spirit guide Janus, but in a sense, it's a state where you transcend space and time, where Shiva reveals himself, right? He's like, ta-da, I'm over here. How do you know it's there? It's scary. It's very scary. It's vast. It's into the void. It's complete awareness. It's expanded consciousness. It's the beyond mind to receive all other realities and access other realities and non-ordinary states of being. It's this dissolving into the vastness of all that is. So the way I want to end this video out is through a little breathing exercise. If you want to do that, it'd be cool if you just followed along with me right now, okay? So imagine 12 fingers below your nose, your heart space. 12 fingers above your head, a portal. Okay? Just be aware of these two spaces past the tip of your nose, a little bit above this area, and your heart space area. Okay? This area. So as I inhale, I'm going to bring the energy up. As I exhale, I'm going to bring the energy to my heart space. As I say hum, inhale. As I say sa, I'm going to bring it down. So let's do it together. Inhale. Hum. Sa. Sa. Now we're going to do it with an inhale and a hold. Same thing, okay? Inhale, hold, bring it down, exhale, hold. Buteyko breathing, let's go. Exhale. Sa. Hold. Be the observer, hold still, observe, feel the peace, feel the bliss, and then exhale. Let's try it one more time. Inhale. Hold it. And hold. You might feel tingles, buzzing. Just be the observer. Just watch all of it. And just pour in through the top of your head, that portal, just pouring in all consciousness, everything. But it's a paradox because you're in a state of complete emptiness and bliss. Where someone has pressed pause on this video game of life. And you now have control of the game. You are the game designer. Thank you for watching. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Hit that subscribe button.